You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates. You're listening to Absolute Empowerment with Coach Jeff Connors on The Sports Objective. Join Coach C, a USA Strength and Conditioning Hall of Famer, every Monday night to see in a variety of guests, including former players, former and current coaches, pastors, and others will discuss relevant issues in coaching today's athlete, with the goal of equipping the athlete and those coaching them with the physical, mental, and spiritual armor necessary to live their best life. Here's Coach Connors.
Welcome to Absolute Empowerment. Tonight we have a very, very special guest, former WNBA two-time All-Star and UNC superstar, Ivory Latta. Ivory, welcome to the show.
Hey, man, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, Ivory, what I'm going to do is recognize my sponsor, and then we'll move on from there. So my sponsor is Ed Watkins Marine. Ed Watkins Marine has two locations to serve you, as they are located in Denver and Cornelius, North Carolina, in the greater Charlotte area of our state. He has fishing boats, pleasure boats, pontoon boats, center consoles, family-friendly bow riders, trailers, engines, and UTVs. He has all the brands you are seeking: Sea Pro, Suncatcher, pontoons, Tritoons, Stingray, Yamaha, Suzuki, Mercury, Vexus bass boats, Explorer skiffs, and more. Whether you're looking for a new boat or to repower your existing boat, Ed Watkins can help you with your boating needs. Visit them online at edwatkinsmarine.com. We appreciate Big Ed's support of the show, and thank you very much, Big Ed. Thanks a lot. All right, Ivory. All right, you there?
I'm here, my guy. What's happening?
So what I want to do first is I just want to go through your career just a little bit, because just such an amazing career. And, we've got all this stuff now going on with women's basketball becoming so popular. And the first person I thought about when I saw this going down was, Ivory beat down the door for all these people right now. And so, I definitely wanted to get you on the show. Just going back here, South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame, when you were in high school, you had 4,319 points, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And that is still, of course, a record which will probably never be broken. And we're talking about ACC titles under your belt at UNC Chapel Hill, and 2 Final Fours.
Yep.
And, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about how you and I met here in a second. But at Chapel Hill, I had you down for, 2,285 points. Is that right?
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
285 points. You had 345 threes. And I don't know how many you shot, what the percentage was, but 345 threes ain't too bad.
Nah.
And I know that's most in the history of the ACC.
Oh, wow.
You were National Basketball Player of the Year in 2006, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so ACC Player of the Year, I don't know if that was 1 year or multiple years. They retired your jersey, number 12.
Yep.
Which I always loved your number, because I was born on the 12th of June, and my dad was a quarterback in college. We're number 12, and number 12 has always been a real special number in our family.
There it is.
There it is. So you then got involved with the ACC network for a while, right? That's most recent.
Still is, yeah. Doing
Okay.
commentary.
You had been a UNC assistant coach 2013 to 2015, correct?
That is correct.
All right. So, hey, let's go back to our experience a little bit. And, I didn't even mention the fact that you were in the WNBA with Detroit, Atlanta, Tulsa, Washington, and then some, European teams. You were with 10 pro teams?
Yeah, I was everywhere, my guy.
Yeah, I got you. So, Sylvia Hatchell came to me and said, hey, I was wondering if you would consider training a basketball team, and I'd love for you to train them just like you train the football team, because I want them to grind a little bit. I want them to get tougher. I want us to be in great shape. And I said, well, Sylvia, that would be an honor for me, because that'd be kind of a new experience for me as well, even though I trained all types of athletes before that. But
Yeah.
I said, but I got one request. I want them to be all mine when they're mine, and I don't want any coaches or trainers in the room with us. I want to be able to do my thing. And wow, what a great experience it was. Of course, she traveled me with you guys. I know, I don't know, 2005, 6, 7, and 8 won the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you know, I got like, I was there for 10 years. I think I got 5 football rings. I got 6 basketball rings. So, you know, two Final Four rings, which was
Yeah.
very special.
Absolutely.
But I enjoyed coaching you, your team, and you, of course, with the enthusiasm you always had and the work ethic. And we just had a lot of fun and had a lot of laughs. And I just want to tell you how special that was for me, and something that I always treasure. And I'm just pretty excited about what I'm seeing now with regard to the popularity of women's basketball, and you know, the fact that you basically have some things, you know, where Caitlin Clark is concerned. For instance, I mean, she needs to give you a call, figure out what she needs to do once she gets in the WNBA to get your advice, because hey, you were in that exact situation, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm, you know, and not just her, but I mean, there's just so many girls out there right now that are just, you know, doing. I mean, really, they're just getting to be as talented as a lot of the men that I see. And you know, we probably won't get into that topic because you probably know what I'm referring to there. But at the same time, what I remember is the girls at UNC, they used to recruit men's teams to play against.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And basically whoop their tails and send them home. So you know, I watched a few of those games, but you know, I think that served to maybe, you know, make your team better. But at the same time, you know, the talent that you had on your team was incredible. And then what a lot of people don't know about Ivory Latta is Ivory Latta was popular with a whole lot of folks out there. Ivory Latta became good friends with LeBron James. Is that correct?
Yeah, man. We was national player of the years in high school. So we was at the McDonald's All American game together. So yeah, man. I've been knowing LeBron since 2003.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I get to the game one day and they say, hey, you know, Ludacris is up in the stands. I'm like, Ludacris is up in the stands.
You know what's so crazy, Coach? Everything that these kids are doing now, how they got celebrities, rappers, and everybody coming to the game. We've been doing it. It's just that it wasn't out like that because the social media wasn't big back then. Like a lot of social media has really helped the game, helped the women's game, you know,
Right.
by getting it out. You know, everybody has this right here in their hands all day long. So you
Gotcha.
scrolling and how they talk about Caitlin Clark, some of the other great players, Flage, who is definitely one of my favorite players, Deja Kelly at North Carolina, another
Yeah.
one of my favorite players, Isaiah James, Sanaya Rivers. Like I can go on and on for days about these young ladies, but it's that social media, man. That thing I wish we had social media back then and how these kids are getting the NIL. Me and a couple of the young ladies that I seen at the Final Four, we were sitting around the table like, how much you think you would have got if you was in college? I was like, listen, I probably would have got by 2 mil a year
Yeah.
easily, you know. And I was just
Yeah.
saying that, and you know, it's a great thing, like you said. I'm blessed to be in a position where I have somewhat paved the way for these young ladies to be able to get that money, to be able to get that exposure.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not one of those bitter old players that be like, man, they shouldn't get this, they shouldn't get it, they shouldn't get this, they shouldn't get that. They deserve it all. I mean, whether it's in sports and life, women, you know, we don't get the respect that we deserve in any job or anything of
Right.
that nature when it comes to money. And
Right.
you know, I seen a big thing on Instagram that I didn't like at all. They was like, "Oh, why should Caitlin Clark go to the league or any other players? She's only gonna be making $76,000." But I'm like, listen, majority of the time when women play, we play for the love of the game. And when
Right.
you And we see when people play for money, they don't play hard. The love for the game is not really there. They go through the motion because they know they get paid this amount of money. Like we play for the love of the game. In my situation, I had to go overseas. So I played in Israel, Turkey. I played in Russia. I played in Belarus. I played different places because we had to. And
Right.
still today, some of the WNBA players, they go overseas because, they want a better life for themselves and their families. But when you have the Caitlin Clarks, who's also, bringing a lot of attention to the women's game, which is great. Like a Flage, some of the other great players that's that Angel Reese. I mean, when you got those players that's bringing attention, I mean, it's great for the game. I'm extremely happy for it, and I'm more happy to see where the game is really growing. These players are awesome. They're amazing. They playing above the rim, crossing over their speed. They can score. And when I talk to a lot of people at the Final Four, they was just like, "Yo, the women's game is so pure. We love it. Like y'all so fundamentally sound. You can shoot the ball. You play team basketball. It's just great to watch."
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And I learned how great it was to watch a long time ago when I was helping you out. But especially the team that it was so exciting. And you know what I remembered was did we beat Gino and UConn twice?
Oh yeah, we beat Gino. Hey, no, look, before we keep going, Coach, let me tell you this, man. Those Final Fours and my success at Carolina was huge because of how you pushed us to a limit that we didn't know we had. And it's just like, oh, and you can hear other people, oh, y'all that's the football coach. He's training y'all, but we are running y'all out the gym every night. So we didn't understand. Now, were we mad at you in the summer? Yes. But we was happy, whenever we played the season, we beat teams and the people on the bench, they get to play, go in the Final Fours. And I mean, I can truly say, like, you really brought the best out of me. And those are like the best years. I tell people now, if I had a chance to go back and play 4 more years for Coach Hatchell and then have you, as my strength coach, man, I'll be 40 this year. I'll go back and play 4 more years. Because
I hear you.
Yeah, no, the determination that you put in. I mean, early in the morning, man, you never let up on us. You was like, hey, let's go. Like you was always crunk, whether we was on those stadium stairs or if we was on the track. It didn't matter. We just knew that you always pushed us to that limit to the point where we thought we was tired. But you was like, y'all not tired. It's mental. And so once we got over that mental part, we was able to like accomplish so much. Even during a game, we'll look at each other like, y'all tired? Like, no. Well, shoot, let's keep playing then. Coach would be like, well, we're going to sub in. We're up by 40. Like, y'all don't need to play anymore. So, man, that's a testament to you and who you are and how you just ran that program and was able to really just get us all on one accord. I mean, we talk about women. We hormones everywhere. But when it came to you and how you really, like, mentally help us get over so much adversity when people didn't think we had it, because they was like, oh, well, they always winning. And hey, man, we dealt with injuries. We dealt with, off the court stuff as well. But when it was time to work with you and all the coaches, bro, like you really pushed us to that limit, man. I'm forever grateful for you. And I know I still hold a record for squatting at 315. Hey, listen, I'm gonna never forget that. You was like, you got it. I'm like, man, I'm barely $135, bro. You about to kill me. And I power clean 185. Hey, so I remember my number. Man, you really pushed me to the limit. And I mean, my junior year, that would have been my $5 million money making year.
I hear you. Sure. You might have thrown a little bit my way. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Hey. Always, Coach. Always.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. We were talking about how you to get that 2 million. Hey, same thing with strength and conditioning. I did it for the love of strength and conditioning, the love of athletics. The guy at Michigan this year made $1 million. My old GA made 500 this year, and I started out making 35, and I was making pretty good money when I got out, but it's come a long way, just like everything else with athletics. And that's even more reason for athletes to get paid, because everybody else was getting paid. And, I love to see the athletes getting paid. It went from one extreme to another extreme. I wish I would have liked to seen it go a little bit slower, and there have been more regulations or something, but because it kind of did go to the Wild West. But at the same time, athletes deserve to get paid. When you see that the amount of money coming in,
Whew.
15 billion a year, whatever it was. But but I wanted to mention too, when I walked in the locker room, and I kind of saw this guy on TV a few times, Cat Williams. Cat Williams was in the locker room, and I was like,
"Hey man, listen."
Cat Williams, he was about as tall as you, right?
Yeah, he was. Listen, Coach, we've been doing this. It's nothing new. And I tell people that. I'm like, they be like, "Oh yeah, Travis Scott was at the game. Such and such was at the game." Listen, we've been had people coming to the game.
Yeah.
Like, people was always Jay-Z rocking Carolina Blue. Like, we've been had these celebrities. It's nothing new. It's the fact that social media has grown. And with social media, a lot of these kids are monetizing their money, their wealth, their, who they are, their brand. And so the brand is big. The brand wasn't as big back then. You know what I'm saying? But we still made a name for ourselves regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, I said, man, Cat Williams. He's like, yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, okay.
And he had a meat coat on at the game. Never seen it.
Oh my God. That was something else.
Great times, Coach. Great times.
Well, I just wanted to say to you that Ivory Latta was contagious. That's all I got to say about Ivory Latta. She was contagious. Personality, leadership, enthusiasm. Wow. A lot of people could learn from that. Yeah. And I want to go back because I really want. I know you're. You only got so much time, but I want you to talk about growing up a little bit, and I want you to talk about the people that influenced you, of course. And I've heard all kinds of stories about you shooting basketball at home and so forth, but also with your dad with Parkinson's and what you've done since then to help with and raise money for or whatever for Parkinson's disease.
Yeah, so where it all started was a little small town called McConnell, South Carolina, which is about 45 minutes outside of Charlotte. No stoplights. We had 2 stop signs and 2 stores. That was it. That's all we had. And from the one store, my house is about 6 miles. So I actually grew up, Coach. Let me say this. I actually grew up. My very first love is baseball. I am way better in baseball than I am in basketball. So when you see when people, man, I'm telling you, I was a pitcher and I played center field and shortstop whenever my dad let me, because we're all baseball team. Because growing up, my dad had his own semi-pro team called the Charlotte Bombers, and they was out of Charlotte, North Carolina. So I was the bat girl. So just imagine me carrying a bat, and I'm already small, Coach. So it was just terrible. So I grew up around baseball, but once I fell in love with the game of basketball, my dad will be like, "Listen, you listen. The family is not tall, so you're going to be short. So you have to work extremely hard. You got to do the extra things that's gonna, really make you stand out." And I just remember I will always see my dad just work out, and I'm like, "So when you leave the house, where are you running to?" He was like, "To the store." And I'm like, "Oh, that's far." He's like, "No, it's 6 miles, 3 miles there, 3 miles back. Come run." So then I started training with my dad, like running 6 miles. We did that probably 2-3 times a week. And then I just fell in love with the game of basketball because I always watch him because he was always watching like Michael Jordan. Magic, Wilt, Pistol P, who was like one of my favorites growing up. Love P. Oh, absolutely. And then one day he was like, if you really want to take basketball serious, you need to watch this guy. I'm like, who is this? Allen Iverson. So I fell in love with AI, and this is the thing me and somebody was talking about too, Coach. I'm going to say this. Kids today have different training. We didn't have basketball trainers back then.
Right.
I had to sit down and watch AI cross over from left to right, right to left, use his body. And then I had to go outside and be like, okay, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? My dad never really trained me. He just sat me down because I'm a visual learner. So if I see anything, see plays, I can get it done like that. So I always watch Allen Iverson. I always want to be AI because I knew I was going to be small. And then, man, I went to a tournament. It's like the Nike tournament or something like that. And after that tournament, I like showed out, and my dad was like, "You're not playing baseball no more." And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna be the first woman in the major leagues." I was crying and upset, but I'm glad he made me stop. And so from then, I end up getting letters. I'm like, "Oh, so I'm pretty good at this." And then I started playing AAU. Then I started getting exposure. But when I tell you, it was the hard work, determination, the sacrifice. I never went out in high school. I went to one prom, and my dad was mad I went to that prom because I missed the tournament. I'm just like, dude, what is going on here? And man, I just worked extremely hard. And it'd be some games where even in high school, I think my senior year I averaged like 45 points a game. And it's be
Right.
some games where I'm like, yo, I had like 45, 10, and something else. But then I went 6 from 8 from the free throw line, and I'm happy after the game. My dad was like, "What are you happy about?" I'm like, "Man, I just had 45 points." He was like, "But you missed 2 free throws." I'm like, he's like, you could have 47, or you could have had 50." And I remember me getting out the car thinking I'm about to go in, mom them cook my favorite meal. I had sloppy Joe or something like that. He was like, "You got to go shoot. You got to go 10 for 10 free throws before you come in the house." He had built me a basketball court. I'm like, what? Man, I'm dog tired. I don't play all the minutes, and you making me shoot 10 for 10. He was like, yeah, don't come in the house until you hit 10 for 10. So it was the discipline that he instilled in me at a young age that I still have today, which
Right.
allowed me to play the way I did at Carolina, play in the WNBA. And that's what I try to tell the kids these days. It's about discipline and sacrifice. We didn't have cameras in the gym as we was training. Camera, the cameras don't make you. It's your work ethic. And
Right.
my dad always told me champions are made when no one is looking. You got everybody in the gym. You're not focusing on your craft majority of the time. You worried about how it's gonna look on Instagram, how they gonna do this and do that. So I think our era of basketball and how we train was probably the best because sometimes this Instagram can corrupt a lot of these kids and it gives false hope and statements to a lot of these coaches. Because once they recruit the kid and get the kid in, they be like, well, the Instagram and the work ethic is not showing up. And so
Right.
I was just blessed to have two parents that really stayed on me, who really pushed me to the limit and just let me know, like, listen, it's not about your height, it's your heart. So you got to go out there and play extremely hard every single game. Give it all you got, but you got to stand out. So what are you gonna do to stand out? And man, that's when I just became became a killer, man.
I got you, man. Some great stuff right there. Yeah, I played quarterback for my dad in high school, and same type of thing. It was not easy.
Oh God,
And
not at all.
my dad had one saying in his office, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog, and
Yes.
I always live by that, man. I've never been tall either.
Yeah, but hey, but you've been mighty, and that's what and that's me. I just been mighty. Like I just try to be like a pest on the court, or I just really low key wanted you not to like me at all,
Yeah.
and a lot of teams did that.
Yeah, I ended up playing corner in college, and of course, I always tell people I was the last white corner in college football. So
Oh my
played
God.
a lot of zone also.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
What made you choose UNC? Because obviously you could have gone anywhere.
Yeah. I chose UNC. One, it was closer to home. Two, at the time, my mom had just lost her job, so it was more
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you got opportunity to go to Notre Dame, Connecticut, and Tennessee." And they just sat me down and pretty much told me, like, "Hey, look, um, those schools are great. They're awesome. No matter what, we're gonna support you. This is where UNC is, Chapel Hill, closer to home. we're going to be at all the games. And that right there really just sold me. But also, going to play for Coach Hatchell, I mean, she was recruiting me since I probably was in the 6th, 7th grade.
Yeah.
And so she loved how I played. She loved my enthusiasm. She loved like how I was just like bringing the energy. She really enjoyed it. And I just pretty much fell in love with her style of play. And
Yeah.
it's pretty much, hey, let's go. Hey, run it, run it, run. I love the Carolina fast break. I just felt it. And also, when I took my visit, oh, that was probably like the best visit of my entire life.
Oh
It was
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's literally like you're in head. Like I've never seen heaven. I don't want to see it anytime soon, but I know I'm going. But it's just like it's beautiful. And it's just like, why would you want to come here? And at the time, it was like Charlotte Smith was my assistant coach. I mean,
Right.
why not?
Right. Right.
She won the national championship. She dunked
Yeah.
in the game, All American. Her jersey retired. So it's just like, you know what? I want to do what you did and do more. So, man, that Carolina blue is beautiful. So it was something I couldn't resist for sure.
Well, I really enjoyed getting to know Andrew Calder and
Yeah.
Tracy, and it was a great staff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I love the whole staff. I mean, Coach Carter is still today, and I tell him we talk often. And I was
uh,
like, man, you're the reason why my jump shot was the way it is. He
right.
never wants to take credit, but the time that he actually put in practicing with me and making sure, I had the correct form and the hours that we put in together in the gym. I mean, it definitely goes a long way. And Coach Williams was like a mother away from a mother. I mean, anytime I
Yeah.
was homesick or I need a home cooked meal or I need somebody to talk to, she was just always there. And G Man, Greg, man, he was just he always kept a smile on my face, man, because he's always doing something crazy. He always got a different car every week.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great staff. I mean, I learned something from each and every one of them, and it was definitely a blessing to be there.
Is Greg somewhere now? Still with basketball, or
I don't think so, man. I think he moved
okay?
back to Tennessee. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, when you look back, are there any games you think of that you'd like to have back? That you'd like to do something different?
Yeah.
I can think of a couple, maybe.
Yeah. You know what game I really want back? Final Four game, man, when I got hurt. I want that game back so bad. Oh my God, against Maryland. And what's so crazy, every team that beat us in the Final Four, coach, went on to win the championship.
Yeah.
I like to take my 2 Final Four games back. Um, I mean, shoot, we won 3 ACC championships, so can't take none of those back. I
Right.
definitely don't want to take that back. Um, I think those 2 Final Four games, man, if I had a chance to redo them, and be healthy, I definitely would. I definitely would for sure.
Now, did we win the ACC the year after you left, or how
Yeah,
did
y'all
that?
did.
Yeah,
4.
because I knew there were 4 in a row that I was with. I
Yep.
got you. So, has UNC won the ACC since then?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so that's kind of been a minute.
Yeah, it has. It definitely has.
Uh,
Yeah.
they might want to get you back in the house again. I don't know.
Hey, you know what? Listen, man, I'm all for it. Anything for
Yeah.
my alma mater, I'm definitely for it. I love development. I want to get back in coaching. Eventually, one day be a head coach.
Yeah.
Um, that's my goal. That's my dream. That's my ultimate goal. And I see how Don Stanley is just, really tearing up the game right now. And a
Yeah.
lot of players just love her. They want to come play for her because she's that fun coach, but also she's a disciplined coach too as well. So
Gotcha.
she get down on them. So yeah, man, if I get an opportunity to go back, hey man, put me in the game, put me on the sideline. I'm there. I just want to be there for the kids. I'm big about development to get them ready if they want to go play in the WNBA. I played it 11 years. I know what they expected. Even if they don't want to do the WNBA, they want to go overseas. I know what it's like. I can get you well prepared. And yeah, man. Hey, I'm a Tar Heel for life, my guy.
I got you. You let me know. I'll come back and bring some old school with you.
Man, we in a different era. I'm not sure these kids are gonna be able to take that.
Nah, ain't
Take
no way.
that coach. Ain't no way, man. Ain't no
Ain't
way.
no way.
Gotta have tough skin.
Now, when you were, I guess I want to ask you about maybe some personal challenges. Did you ever feel in your career that it kind of like your responsibility on the team was getting a little bit heavy? And because it seemed like anytime that ever happened with you, you just embraced it.
Yeah. I love adversity. I love adversity.
Right.
I think after my junior year when I got hurt, I had a little I had to rebuild my confidence. I had to rebuild, you know, that self-esteem in myself. Because I didn't know how my knee was gonna react. How was I how am I going to be able to get the team back to the Final Four, win a national championship? So with me and how I do things, I put a lot of pressure on myself. I try to take pressure off my teammates. Like, hey, don't worry about it, just put it on me. Because I've always know I've been built for it. You know, my mom, my dad always tell me, you built for it, you built for adversity. There's nothing in life that can tear you down. You've been through so much as a child dealing with asthma, you know, dying a couple times, your parents having to give you CPR just to bring you back. So it's like I've been dealing with adversity my whole entire life. And after my junior year, I really doubted myself so much. And I kind of just wanted to get in a shell and just be like, oh, but like my dad always said, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. You have to get back up, get back in your groove, get that confidence. And that's what I did, man. I got back in the gym. I got comfortable. I was able to get back in shape. Knee was good. And I had a great senior year. I think that my junior year, after I got hurt, had the surgery, that's when the doubt kicked in. But then I realized, like, man, I've been through worse, a surgery or being saved by your parents so many times. It is not even a match. So I knew I had to like really get back in gear and get the team back to the Final Four.
Yeah, I talk to a lot of athletes and coaches, and someone strong like you usually has some type of spiritual life
Oh yeah.
and experiences along those lines. What can you say a little bit about that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I just actually kind of talked about it. I grew up with acute asthma. And man, let me tell you something. By the grace of God, I'm still here. The doctors had told my parents, like, I think I stayed in the hospital till I was probably like 5, 4, 5 ish, maybe around there. And they told my parents, like, hey, listen, she can't go outside, she can't play, don't have her in the heat, just all kinds of things. You know, if she has an asthma, she has another asthma attack, she can possibly die. My parents, I was raised in a church. So my parents are like spiritually like sounded. So anything a doctor said, they was just like, okay. Because they always believe God has the final say so on everything.
Right.
And that's me personally too. So they was just like, listen, um, I remember that one day they was like, just go outside and play. Go climb a tree. Anything happens, God gonna protect you. And when I literally truly believe he has protected me my whole life, I had my first asthma attack my freshman year in college. I woke up and my parents was right beside my bed. And all I could think of was like, oh my God, I'm about to die. And my mom always tell me, she's like, no, you are covered. Like you're fine, you're covered. Don't worry about nothing. And I've always taken that with me. Like, no matter what anybody says, whether I had this surgery, that surgery, like the person that I believe have the final say so is God, no matter what. And I've always put him first in my life because I wouldn't be where I'm at without him. And like I said, I grew up in the church. I'm big on it still today, no matter what, you know, profession that I'm doing now. I always put God first, and I always say, well, God, if your hand's not in it, it ain't for me. And I just leave it at that, man. So my faith is what really kept me going, even in the WNBA, having my faith in him. Like, man, they told me my first year in the WNBA, I'm not a guard. They told me I'm not a point guard. I was too small and I wouldn't make it after 1 year. I did 10 more. And I'm like, yo, that was by the grace of God. Like, I wouldn't have made it without him.
I appreciate you sharing that.
For sure. Yeah.
I never can get enough, so I'm back in school now to be a health and life coach. So I just wanted to one of the things that we talk about is moving forward. We got about 10 minutes here. I know you got a phone call coming in, but moving forward.
Yeah.
If we talked about Ivory Latta's magnificent obsessions, what she has a passion for moving forward, and in those magnificent obsessions, from a scale of 1 to 10, they'd have to be rated at least an 8. Give me something. Give me something about what you're gonna do.
What I'm gonna do with what? What I'm gonna do with what, Coach?
What you're gonna do with your life? What are your goals right now, moving forward?
Well, one of my goals that I've been praying about for the last 2 years is actually happening now. Um, I'm in the process of building my own sports facility, actually a sports campus, in my hometown for my kids. I feel like now is the time for me to be able to provide them with the resources that I didn't have, but I was able to see what other kids had in other countries, or when I traveled to LA, New York, Detroit, Atlanta, and I saw the resources that those kids has, and I always wanted to say, why my kids in my community can't have those same resources. And about a week ago, I was able to get all the votes to be able to move the sports facility forward. Um,
Awesome.
be also building my Just Belief Center, which is my nonprofit for the kids. And the whole thing about that is just giving a kid something so simple, and it's just encouraging the kids to really just believe in themselves. Um, don't rely too much on man or woman. Um, Believe that God will be their vessel in any and everything that they want to do. Just believe that they can be successful, whether it's in sports, doctor, lawyer, whatever it is. They just got to believe in themselves. And I try to tell these kids now in sports, don't always think the coach is gonna believe in you. You can mess up 1 or 2 times and you sitting on the bench and you gonna be in your feelings and wondering why you on the bench and why the coach is treating you this way. No, when you got self-belief, you will be able to bounce back regardless of what a coach feel, what do they say, because the work that you put in, the time, the sacrifice, and the determination, that's gonna trump anything that anybody has to say. And so being able to build my sports facility, um, and have my Just Believe Center, that that has been a goal of mine for the last 2 years, and I've been able to do that. Man, it's a blessing. Moving forward, I also really love real estate. Uh, I know it's kind of some people be like, "What?" I love people. I love talking to people. I love helping them solve their problems, whatever it is. They need a home, or they trying to get rid of a home, or they in a financial bind. I have connections to be able to help them. And so go back to, my father and dealing with Parkinson's, being able to raise awareness, raise money, um, dealing with some people that I know who contact me and say, well, how did you deal with your father when he had Parkinson's? And I say, listen, you got to categorize it in 2 ways: good days and bad days.
Right.
Good days, I mean, he was walking up very well, talking good, eating, we having good conversations. Bad days, he will be slurring, can barely move. So, now I encourage a lot of the families to start cycling, getting in water aerobics, being able to play with mind games, because mentally that Parkinson's can really take over the brain. And so, those are some things that I'm doing. That Parkinson's is definitely dear to my heart. My father battled with like 14, 15 years of it. Lived a great life. I mean, he's definitely in a better place right now. I thank God for that, because he was definitely fighting and suffering. And as much as I wanted to be selfish and still have him here, I didn't feel like that was the right thing to do. So whenever his time was called home, it was more of, I'm sad, but I'm kind of happy at the same time that he's able to be able to walk again, to be able to enjoy himself, knowing that he is in heaven. he lived a great life. I mean, instilled so much in me that, I'm forever grateful for that, regardless of any situation.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. Well, and I know you want to be a head coach. We talked about that. And so I guess to wrap it up, I have to ask you about put me in mind of some old Whitney Houston talking about moments in time. So
Wow.
what, when you think back on everything,
Yeah.
give me a few moments in time.
You know what? One of the moments that's standing out right now is when I scored 70 points in a game. High school. 70 points. But reason why I go back to that moment, because that moment is partially one of the reasons why I'm getting inducted to the South Carolina Hall of Fame
Yeah.
next month. But that 70-point game was special because so many college coaches came to that game but couldn't get in. Like, we tried to tell them, hey, listen, it's a playoff game, sold out. You have to be there early. If not, they're shutting the doors. They
Yeah.
shut the doors, uh, I mean, like almost 45 minutes to an hour before the game. So that is a moment that I will never forget. And it's so cool when I walk in the malls and I go to the grocery stores and people come up to me and be like, hey, I was at that game when you scored 70 points. It was crazy in there. It was crazy. Like that was one of the most exciting games of my entire life. You know, to hear people come up and say that, I mean, that's a great feeling to know that they've been there for me since I've been in high school. And I say another moment in time for me that I could think of is pretty cool. Um, we lost my very first year. We lost the ACC tournament. I remember losing, and Coach Hatchell had us to sit outside on the court and watch Duke celebrate. I mean, that was one of the most harsh things I ever thought a coach can do, man. I'm like, why are you making us watch Duke celebrate, cut the nets down, balloons popping, and they kicking it over there against us? But I do remember me sitting beside Coach Hatcher. I said, you know what, Coach? I said, for the next 3 years while I'm here at the University of North Carolina, we would never lose another ACC tournament again. And she looked at me. She said, okay. And ever since then, for those next 3 years, we never lost the ACC tournament. So those are some great memories for me. When I really look back, man, those are something that is going to stick with me for the rest of my life. And I always talk about them.
And let me tell you something. I was glad I was there to see it because it's going to stick with me too. Because
I'm glad you
you don't
was a
see
big part of my success.
like you had too often. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
to beat UConn a couple times, and we beat like Tennessee. I don't know who all we beat, but beat some pretty good teams.
Yeah, we beat some pretty good teams, man. We had a really great squad. Really
Yeah,
great teammates.
no doubt. Well, Ivory, I know you got to go, and I appreciate so much you coming on. I love you. I love everything you stand for. And if you ever need me to come down and speak to the kids, I'll come and do it.
I know you a coach, man. I appreciate you having me on your show, man. And once again, thank you for for my success. And I really appreciate it. I'm grateful. I'll never, ever, ever forget you. The stadium stairs, those sandbags, those tracks, those weights. I won't forget because man, they made me into the woman who I am today. So I'm very grateful. Thank you so much.
Much appreciated. Well, I'm going to be following where your next journey is. So good luck to you. And God bless. I'm just so thankful to be able to talk to you tonight. I really am. I'm kind of breaking up on this. Let me tell you something.
Hey man, hey coach, man. Like you said, God bless you. You've been a blessing to me. You've been a blessing to many. You've changed a lot of our lives, man. It was bigger than just lifting weights. You know what I'm saying? It's the relationships that we still have today, man. Being able to talk, joke, laugh,
yeah.
and reminisce on the good times that we had. Even though, man, we wanted to wring your neck, but it's okay. It's okay. We were successful at it. So I thank you for having me on the show, man. And I'm definitely going to keep you updated on everything that I got going on, man. Love for you to come down and, be a part of my ceremony when we do the groundbreaking. So thank
Sounds
you.
great. Well,
Thank
this is Jeff Connors. God bless. I'm signing off for Absolute Empowerment, and we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot, Ivory.
Hey, thank you, my man.
You've been listening to Absolute Empowerment with Coach Jeff Connors on The Sports Objective. Join us every Monday night for a new edition of the show. Listen to the show pretty much everywhere podcasts are found. Be sure to follow us on social media at The Sports OBJ on Twitter and TikTok, at The Sports Objective on Instagram. Like and follow our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, we appreciate you listening to the show. And go Pirates!